Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are in the middle of booktubeathon right now, and since I'm trying to dedicate all my time to reading, I did film a couple of videos in advance, including this one. This is my Amazon haul for July. I want to show you guys everything that I picked up and shouldn't have. First, there was an event on Amazon in July, and that was Prime Day. It's where there are a bunch of special deals for people who have Amazon Prime memberships. It's kind of like a Black Friday thing. They're lightning deals. For somebody who was into books, it wasn't that impressive. If I wanted, 60-inch televisions, then I might have been a little bit happier with Prime Day. But first, I do want to show you the three things that I did pick up from Amazon during Amazon Prime Day. The first is called The Dry. This is a novel by Jane Harper. It is a story about a guy named Aaron Falk who returns to his hometown. His childhood best friend is murdered, his whole family, as a matter of fact. And people are imploring the main character, Aaron Falk, to look into it. He's a federal agent. And basically what's uncovered is a note at the crime scene that says, Luke lied, you lied. So the book is about uncovering what links the main character to his best friend's murder. It sounds like an interesting enough thriller, but like I said, I did pick it up for Prime Day, so I think that the new hardcover cost me like $7 or $8. The second book I picked up is called The Marriage Lie. This book is by Kimberly Bell, and you see this book everywhere on Amazon. Basically, it's the story of a woman who sends her husband off on a business trip to Florida. Yes, to Florida. The day he departs, another plane heading to Seattle crashes and there are no survivors. And turns out her husband wasn't actually on the plane to Florida, he was on the plane to Seattle. And so the book is trying to uncover why he lied, where he was going, and what he was involved in. The next thing that I picked up that I was super excited about was the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdoms duology. This probably isn't something that I would have read if it hadn't have been available in a box set for like $18, 17 or $18. But I was just stoked at the covers and the pages and the design of it all, the aesthetic of it all. So I will read them now that I have them. You can't escape these books on BookTube, so no need to explain to you guys what these are. Okay, the rest of the books are just books that I gradually picked out at Amazon throughout the month of July. The first is My Sister's Grave, and this is by Robert Giugioni. This is about a woman named Tracy whose sister was murdered when she was younger, and because she's not convinced that the man convicted of the crime is actually the killer, she becomes a detective to uncover some of the answers. This is a Thomas and Mercer book, which is an Amazon imprint, so this is one of those books that you can only get at Amazon. The next book is another Thomas and Mercer book, only available at Amazon. This is Abducted by T.R. Reagan. And it is the story of a woman who was abducted by a serial killer in her teens, and she was his only victim to survive. And when she escaped, the serial killer vanished. But basically, she has become a private investigator, and of course, one day, the serial killer that was supposed to have forgotten about her returns to torment her. I have another book called Furious by T.R. Reagan, and incidentally I have an arc that I need to read by T.R. Reagan, so that will be 3 books from an author that I've not read before, that I'm not familiar with. This is another Thomas and Mercer book, only available at Amazon. So this is a story of a woman who arrives home and finds that her husband is being murdered, And then she is attacked and nearly killed. And when she survives, she realizes that her son and daughter have been taken. And she grows increasingly frustrated with law enforcement's failure to find her children and bring her husband's killer to justice. So she sort of becomes a vigilante. I think she attends support groups and ends up recruiting other victims, other survivors of violent attacks, and they they set out to wreak vengeance, basically. I thought it sounded incredibly interesting, and I'm hoping that I really enjoy all these books by T.R. Regan that I have to read. The next book is called Guilty. This is by Laura Elliott, and it is the story of a man whose niece goes missing, and because of a journalist's crazy tactics, he is sort of labeled as the prime suspect and begins to be persecuted for possibly abducting his own niece. And 6 years later, that reporter has only gotten more and more successful, and meanwhile his life has taken a turn for the worse. His wife has left him, his career is over, and he basically owes it all to this one reporter. So the book kind of implies that he's going to exact revenge on the woman who accused him of a crime he did not commit. The next book I picked up is The Missing Ones. This is by Patricia Gibney. This is another book that you can't escape if you are frequently looking through books on Amazon. It is the story of Detective Lottie Parker, and it's the first in a series of books that will feature this detective. This one involves murders of young boys that revolve around a former children's home. Current murders are being linked with murders happened long ago in the past. One of them actually links the detective's family to some of the crimes. So again, this book was just purchased out of sheer curiosity, like why Amazon kept shoving it down my throat. But I am hoping that I enjoy it, because if I enjoy book one, then I will be able to hopefully start another pretty reliable thriller series. The next book I picked up is The Kitchen God's Wife. This is a book by Amy Tan. This book is about two older women, Winnie and Helen, who were lifelong friends, and so the book sort of follows their friendship as it developed in the past and where it is in the present, their relationship with each other and their relationship with their families. The reason that I picked up this book is because it came highly recommended as a book that honestly, accurately, and successfully portrays a character with multiple sclerosis. And I was diagnosed with MS in 2012, and I've never read a book about a character with MS, and this one is the book that people claim is the most successful. I'm curious, so I picked it up. Don't anybody worry, I'm fine. The next book I picked up is called The Safest Lies. This book is by Megan Miranda, and this is the story of a young girl whose mother was the victim of abduction. The blurb makes it sound like the character is the product of her mother and her mother's abductor. You know, I read a book with a similar sort of premise not too long ago called The Marsh King's Daughter. Because of her mother's past, her and her mother have a unique relationship, and they've always sort of been looking over their shoulders and stuff. And then one day, the girl's mother goes missing. So this is sort of billed more as a young adult thriller, but it came with some pretty positive endorsements. So I'm excited to give it a shot. This is the second book that I bought by Megan Miranda. This one's called All the Missing Girls. And this is about a woman whose teenage best friend disappeared, vanished without a trace, and no one ever knew what happened to her. And when the woman returns to her hometown, other girls start going missing as well. So the story is about uncovering what happened to her childhood best friend and where the girls in the present day are vanishing to as well. And did the main character have anything to do with these disappearances? The next book I picked up is called One of Us is Lying. This is a young adult book about 5 teenagers who are sentenced to detention, and one of them dies during their punishment. The 4 teens that survive are all being questioned about the circumstances of the 5th student's death, and they're all claiming innocence. And of course, the title is One of Us is Lying. Now, I was originally attracted to this book for its Breakfast Club undertones. Like, it sounded very much from like a really interesting take on The Breakfast Club, that 1980s movie by John Hughes. But it also came highly recommended to me from a fellow booktuber as well, who was pretty impressed with the story and said that I might enjoy it if I picked it up. So we'll see. This is by Karen McManus. I don't think I mentioned that. Maybe I did. The next book that I picked up is called The Haunting Season. This is by Michelle Muto, and it is also only available at Amazon.com. It is the story of 4 college students who enter a notoriously haunted house in order to study the paranormal. And each of these 4 individuals has some sort of supernatural gift. The main character herself can talk to ghosts. So they set out, to kind of make an academic study of this. And of course, things start to go horribly wrong. It says in order to escape this house, Jess and the others must open themselves up to the true horror and channel the very evil that seeks to hold them in. So the last book that I have to show you is Every Last Word. This book is by Tamara Ireland Stone, and this one is making its rounds currently around BookTube. This is the story of a high school girl who suffers from OCD. The story is about Sam finding a group to join that is full of kids who suffer from their own different afflictions, and it's probably going to make me cry. I don't know. It just seems like it's going to be a tearjerker. I'm very interested in imperfect protagonists, whether it's a personality flaw or it's a legitimate diagnosable illness. I think it makes for more interesting characters and therefore more interesting books. So long story short, that's why I picked this one up as well. So there you have it. There is my Amazon haul for the month of July. And I like showing you guys the books that are only available at Amazon. So if you're not necessarily an Amazon shopper, you can still be exposed to those books. And I've been pleasantly surprised with books published by Amazon in the past, so I think they're worthwhile. I hope that everything is going really well for everybody during BookTubeathon, and if you have read any of the titles that I talked to you about today, or if you want any more information, you can check out anything I've left below in the description box, or leave me questions and comments in the section under that. But thank you guys for watching. And as soon as I emerge from this BookTubeathon thing, I will see you guys very soon.